So she whooped our ass.
Yeah. I'm getting my ass whooped, definitely.
No, it's ass whooping time over with. That's
Yeah.
over with now. Now it's time to celebrate the return of the Sweetwater.
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
I told you we about
When
to
this
have
stuff
Mardi
come
Gras or every major city. Mardi Gras, Mardi Gras.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
They talking that doomsday shit. Fuck, that's just some scare tactics to slow your progress down. We about to have Mardi Gras. From Maine to Arizona, from Alaska to Florida, from motherfucking the Canadian North of Nova Scotia to the bottom of Argentina. We finna turn up on these motherfuckers.
Hey, so my next question, real quick, and then I'm gonna let you go. But my last name is Artis, Artis. I'm guessing that's a Canadian French name, more Canadian on the
That's
more
a
likely.
profession.
Oh, really?
Your name is so somebody in your family established your last name because they was an artist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right now, what kind of artist depends on. You can look at your family and you can see what y'all have a penchant for doing.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you got singers in the family, or you got painters in the family, or instrument players in the family. But when you got the name artist as a clan name, they all got different art forms that could be associated with the clan.
Okay, because I got 13 brothers and sisters, and I'm probably the only one that is not an artist. Every one of them, they all have a specialty, like a art, like you're saying. But I don't know. I just figured that it was more like a French. But okay,
How many children you got?
I don't have any kids. I don't have none.
Because you might be this is the craziest shit. Y'all women do this shit, but you might not want to express your artistic talents with the world right now. You might be saving it so that you can use it to develop the artistic talent in your child. As they see yours develop, they'll follow the suit. So you could be just waiting to be a mother in order to turn that on.
That you might be right, 100%. Might be right. Yeah.
Look here. Watch my pen. You see it?
You a doula, yeah. I thought about that. I wanted to be a nurse. I actually like children, but I just don't have any. So I mean that makes a lot of sense. Okay. That makes a whole lot of sense. Okay.
Right. So that came up earlier in the conversation we having related to what you was doing in the spirit realm.
Okay.
So it would make perfect sense that if you had a drive or the traction to be in the doula, you would probably be one of the best ones. Right? So, like, I wanted to be a doctor, but when I caught my felony, I couldn't be an MD, so I turned into a witch doctor. It's a will, it's a way.
You're
That's
right.
what my mama told me. I told my mom, I said, Mama, I couldn't be a doctor like my cousin Calvin because we supposed to went to med school together. But I had C's and D's anyway. I had grandiose delusions at the time because I wasn't finna get in nobody's medical school with C's and D's. But that was our thing. We were both gonna be doctors.
And
so he went on to be an MD. So I couldn't be an MD. So what the fuck? What kind of doctor can I be? And then I looked at my family line and I was like, shit, I'm gonna be a witch doctor.
But you know what? I when I first started going to school, I wanted to go to school for a nurse, but I just could not do the school. I just couldn't do the classes. It's just something that I just couldn't. I had to take all these other extra classes. It just didn't fit. And so I never completed school for that. But that was something that I always wanted to be, was a nurse. But yeah, that was.
So the way that we teach in the doula center is not going to be like the university. As a doula, you got a wide breadth of knowledge you have to assimilate. But when you first come in, we don't drop every fucking piece of information you need on you. You're not going to realize until you get to a certain point that, God damn, I went through all that in that short period of time.
Yep.
But doulas are taught hands-on by doulas.
Exactly. And
taught
that's how I
hand.
learned. Yep.
You start off, you know, you might have to be the one that fold her towels and watch. Go get the water while she doing whatever she doing. But she's instructing you and showing you the intricacies of being a doula. Right? The birth maidens is what they used to be called in ancient times, using the English language as a translation. Right? They was referred to as birth maidens, would be the English equivalent. And most of their life, because you learn, the doula doesn't stop assisting the mother until the child go off to their rites of passage. So we talking in modern terms, not until they enrolled in real school, kindergarten and preschool, the doula still assessing the child. When the doula finally give her final report, she's telling the mother, your child has a drive to do this, so you should put this in their path to make sure they learn so they can strive for their best life according to these parameters. They study the child. Childhood psychologists was doulas. And they got so many things that they are responsible for, but because it's the way that it's taught and the way that it's assimilated, it doesn't seem like you're doing nothing but being a good ass auntie that just know a lot of shit.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I got one more thing. Like the way you just said that. Okay, so when I first moved to Georgia, I stayed with my sister, and she had two little girls that were you know, very young. And my sister was so mean. She would say some of the worst things, like, you know, call them bitches, saying you're not gonna ever be nothing. You know, I wish I would have aborted you. And so I'm hearing all these things with my own ears. And so, you know, I'm trying to talk to them. I'm trying to talk, you know, like that's not true, whatever she's saying. You know, I'm really there for them. And it got so bad to a point where nothing that I would say, like it's just, I know that's their mom, but it was just like nothing that I would say or do will overwrite what she's done to them. And so I just kind of like gave up and moved out once they got a certain age. Once they got old enough, I moved out and moved on my own because I just felt like there was nothing else I could really do, because nothing was sticking. Like I said, it's almost kind of like everything that she said, it just kind of overwrote any type of positivity that you would try to breathe into them.
You'd be
And
surprised. So the way that the children, they might come off with the mother's imprint as a primary, but if you still giving them love, when it come time to trust somebody, they're gonna come to you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, they tell me everything.
So the problem is your sister's the one need the help.
Yeah, I think she's beyond help. She's delusional at this point.
Mama said you don't give up on nobody till they gave up on themselves. And you don't know a person that haven't gave up on themselves. They might just don't know how to get from under the stress.
That could be true.
She don't know how to cope with her stressors, so she takes it out on the children, the weaker people.
Yeah.
Right? So the goal is to teach her to be more self-confident, and she'll be less mean to the children. She got low self-esteem. All of the things that she's doing to her children, it's the same as the people that cut themselves.
Yep.
Right? It's not that she don't love her children, because she'll fuck somebody up about them. But she don't understand that she's fucking them up by the way that she's interacting with them. Later on, when she wake up to what she's done to them, the remorse, she might not be able to overcome the remorse.
I don't think so, because I mean, it's horrible. I don't know. I never thought a mother could ever treat their daughters like that, especially girls, you know. But but you know what? Thank you so much. That was all I had. I'll let you take another caller, but thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you said to me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for coming in, sweetie.
You're welcome.
Reciprocity of energy. So look, a lot of times these mothers are not properly pair bonded. This is why doulas is so important. They're not properly pair bonded with the child, because instead of allowing the cycle of the oxytocin and endorphins to cycle through the child back through the umbilical cord, the psyche is told that the child is stillborn. And the mother is seeing the child and she's conflicted in her deep emotions and don't know what it is. So she becomes aggressively abusive to the child. But you fuck with that child, she'll fuck you up. But she doesn't understand that her pair binding is off because she never had a doula before during pregnancy and in the formative years of adolescence where the child is developing a personality. So she don't know how to properly connect with the child, and it comes out as abuse. All of this stuff is going to be corrected and treated. And the doulas is going to be more important than the psychs. Psychiatrists is only there to give you medications in order to numb whatever the psychological sensation that they call an abnormality, right? So they're not really there to heal you. The doulas is there to heal you. They don't want you to be miserable with your child. They want you to enjoy your child, and they want you to be properly pair bonded, because the mother that's properly pair bond with the child is a whole different person than the one that's traumatic, the trauma bonded to the child, right? Because it makes them take out negative emotions on the child because they are bonded through a trauma bond instead of a parental bond. And postpartum depression, as the sisters say right here, is a critical part or a critical symptom of improper pair bonding. The doulas know what to do. Every one of the sisters is watching. If you're pregnant, make sure that you have a doula or a certified midwife that that is familiar with child psychology, because they're gonna make sure that the mother is properly pair bond. They slap the child on the ass, trauma. The child cried, trauma to the mother. Then they cut the cord, double trauma. The baby, the placenta told the mother that there's been an obstruction and the baby is dead. But the mother looking at the child, her eyes are saying, I see the baby right there. But if they don't slap the baby, he has no trauma. Clear the airway, and then you post the baby on the mother's teeth. The baby's supposed to suckle until the placenta releases naturally, at which time the placenta is then either harvested, or some people leave the placenta on until it fall off. But it depends on the doula, which the doulas come in tribes too, right? So we got doulas that teach from a different learning style than a different doula, but they all have one thing in common. They want the mother properly pair bonded with the child so that the child can have proper mothering as it grows, because it changes the way the adults are made, and it changes the way that the adults behave. If we don't get a hold on this shit soon, we're going to be producing more derelicts. We don't want that shit. They was doing that shit to be fodder for their prisons and their work camps. So I'm going to take another sister, but that's an important issue that and the women need to be aware of.
Hey, peace, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, sweetie? Tell them where you chiming in from.
From Arizona.
Arizona, goddammit, all in the desert.
Yes. Yes, I was actually tapping in because my brother and I, we went camping on Friday, and we just came back today. But yesterday when we were out there, it was weird because like when we were sleeping in our tent and I was laying down, I kept hearing like this humming noise. And it just kept going for like the longest. And then like when I turned my head, then it stopped. And then it just kept going. And then like an hour later, I heard like, it almost sounded like females in a hyena scream. And it was like, sounded like 8 to 9. And it was like all together. And then it was like that for like 30 minutes and then it stopped.
Mm-hmm. It sounded like it was either jackals or foxes. They make those sounds. Sound like hyenas.
Because I'm thinking like, I was telling my brother, I was like, man, this whole life has been so powerful. Like even this one that you went on this morning, but the previous caller that was on here, she was mentioning about like nursing, and you mentioned about psychology. And I was telling my brother, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Because like right when I got out of high school, I went to school for psychology, and I couldn't understand. I didn't like the reading, so I just stopped doing psychology. And then I went to school and got licensed in massage therapy. And then I started to go to school for nursing. And then when they made it, it's going to stop nursing. But it's like, I always had a thing to be with children. I love being around children. And I was telling my brother, like, if I went through the nursing program, I wanted to be in the ward that was like with children and mothers.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things, there's going to be a lot of like women who couldn't have children, right? There's going to be a lot of them that's going to volunteer for some of these children taken with special needs, taken from tunnels, right? Some of them, their eyes got fucked up from being kept in the dark their whole life, 8-10 years. You know, some of them have issues with their entrails from being abused, all kind of psychological issues from being abused. And the only thing that's going to overcome all that abuse is a whole lot of love.
That's crazy. It's crazy
Yeah, so,
that, because I actually had gotten a procedure done in 2016, and I had to get my tubes removed, and they told me I wasn't able to have kids naturally. I can only have kids
intravenous test tubes,
correct, but
in vitro fertilization.
Yes, correct. They said the same thing to my mom too, and they said that she wasn't able to have kids, but she was able to have two. So, but during that process, like after learning that news, like it took me a couple years to understand that, and I was depressed through that time, because it's like that's something that I've always wanted to have, you know, to have kids naturally. And it's like I'm still trying to understand the process and all that, like saying that I'm able to have kids, because I still feel like I'm still able to have kids because my mom was able to, but I don't know. It's just like kind of iffy. I don't know.
Your mother had the same surgery you had?
No, she didn't.
So your surgery is the issue, right? If they took your fallopian tubes. So in vitro fertilization will harvest your egg and match it with the sperm and put it in like you know, that's how they do in vitro fertilization.
Right.
Right. And in that case, you might be extremely fertile. Right. A lot of times they put more than one fertilized egg in, and you have a multiple birth. Right. So that's something to think about. But I will wait till after the medical system is revamped, because a lot of the things that they was doing is unconscionable to tell the people.
Right.
Right. Like, it's a good chance that they didn't need to take your fallopian tubes. One of the things every woman need to know this: if your pH balance in your vagina is alkaline, none of the stuff, cancer can't live there, venereal disease can't live there, can't function in an alkaline environment, right? And you normally know when it's acidic because it has a scent that comes with it that the woman doesn't like herself.
Right.
Right. So this is why it's important to keep the yoni balanced, chemically balanced, by periodically they got yoni priestesses that teach vaginal health on a deeper level. Right.
I remember you guys were talking about that in the live. I can't remember her name, but I started following her on your IG page. She was talking about it, the yoni and stuff. And this actually yesterday or Saturday, I did some grounding when I was in the field. And when I got done grounding, I was telling my brother, I was like, man, my feet felt so much lighter, like getting done, like grounding, even though it was like 10 minutes, but my body felt different doing it afterwards.
Yeah, because people be amazed that right now we are more sensitive to the energy in our bodies because the frequency is changing, and it's more noticeable to us now than it would have been, say, in the 80s. Right. The ones in the 80s, you had to be an extreme tree hugger in order to be able to tap that energy. Now you don't have to be. You just have to be aware of Mother Earth's connection to you, and then ground yourself to her, and it automatically starts to aid in healing.
Oh, and then another thing I found out. So when I was in massage school, we read this book about Chinese medicine, and it dealt with like the archetypes, like the earth, fire, water. And I learned that I was the earth type. but I'm not sure how to go upon with that.
When's your birthday?
April 28th, 93.
What's your zodiac sign? April. That's Aries.
Taurus.
Taurus.
Yes.
That's, yeah. So they tell you an earthbender, basically. The earth sign are more stubborn, harder to handle, more determined. When they set their mind to something, it's harder to stop them, right? Fixed energy. Taurus is notoriously stubborn, but notoriously stubborn with one of the best hearts you want to see. They give you their last, right, if you don't ask them for it. If you ask them for it, they might think you up to something. They don't give you shit. But if you don't ask them for it, they'll see what you need and they'll give it to you on their own, and then they'll feel the satisfaction that they want to know they're doing good. Yeah. So to try to make a Taurus do something, you're gonna make them not do it. The harder you try to make them do it, the less likely they is to do it. But if you ask them nicely and say please, then get out their way so they can get the job done.
That's so crazy you said that, because I feel like that's how I am with my job. So like I work on a military base. I was in the Army, but I got out last year, but I worked there full time. And like I was telling my brother, I felt like